Raise your hand if you believe entrepreneurship is hard.
It is hard, but I think it's worth it.
I got two amazing female entrepreneurs that you need to know about. We talk about building better, and clearly you're building up two amazing female entrepreneurs.
It's really a thrilling experience to support someone at the stage or at the place where they need it the most.
Now making, over six figures, and that's,
Shout
before.
yourself out. No, come on now. That's a big deal. So dream big, but on paper, we have to be considerate.
We have to be.
Right? We have to keep it cute.
Yes.
We have to be demure.
Realistic.
I find that there's a lot of grants that's being provided, but it's not getting into our hands.
You've got to dream so big that you got to grow into that person.
Yes,
So
Mackeda,
that's
you are
what
moving
I'm
my
gonna
spirit
do.
today, girl. You are moving my spirit today. Hey, we got another episode of Building Better with Brandon, presented by TD Bank. I got two amazing female entrepreneurs that you need to know about. First up, we got Mackeda Bramwell, who has her own law firm, Mackeda Law. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we also have the amazing Taisha Freeman, the owner of Fashion Forward Designer Incubator, Inc. Thanks so much for joining me as well.
I'm happy to be here, BG.
So, Mackeda, I want to kind of start with you. Talk to me about Mackeda Law. When did you start that and why?
So Mackeda Law started in December of 2022. That's when we registered. We officially started in January of 2023. But I have been in the industry for the better part of almost 16 years. Our why is, number one, I wanted to build a legacy for myself and my family and for my community. Brandon, representation matters. And that's so important that people that look like me can represent other people that look like me in our community.
Taisha, talk to me about your business and why.
So essentially, I provide a platform for emerging Canadian designers. When you're a designer and you're coming out of college and you're trying to figure out what's that next step, what does that look like, and even just from a business perspective where you're looking at, how do I get a logo, how do I just, how do I get my website? So we provide everything. It's a one-stop shop. So my purpose, I believe, why I'm here is to give back to others, especially for a young Black girl coming from, the hard knock life. And to me, it's I'm very proud to where I am now and what I was able to provide so far within the community.
When you were little, did you ever see yourself being where you are at right now?
Absolutely not. You never imagine yourself being a lawyer, especially in Canada. In fact, when I was younger, I thought I was going to be a soldier.
A soldier? Like in the army?
In the army. I thought I was going to go in the army.
Also, nobody should mess with you.
Listen, as I thought I was the likely path, right?
Raise your hand if you believe entrepreneurship is hard.
It is hard, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Raise your hand, though, if you believe some people think it's easy from the outside looking in.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you first started your entrepreneurship journey, what was the hardest thing?
When I planted the seed of Fashion Forward, essentially that time I was going back to school. So I was a single mother of two kids. And during that time,
So you went back to school while you had kids and a full-time job?
and a full-time job, and I was also creating my business. And I took all my little coins that I had and put it into my business and said, I'm just going to approach these designers and I'm just hoping that they're going to get on board. So the first year I broke even. I didn't, it wasn't profitable, but it allowed me to say, I have a brand. Now I have something, I can sell this brand. Now making, over six figures, and that's
Shout
before.
yourself out. No, come on now. That's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm humbled in the sense that one, when you fall down, you have to know how to get back up, and that comes from having that resilience.
What's so amazing is both of you have families, and both of you made the decision to go into entrepreneurship as you had children. What was the trigger for you to say, I'm gonna jump in?
Generational wealth. I think you want to leave something for your kids, and I think we don't talk about that a lot.
So your kids for you weren't an obstacle; they were your ambition to make that.
100%.
I too was a single mom before I got married, but I went to law school with my kids being very small.
Yeah.
You would ask the question about some of the challenges that entrepreneurs face. For me and for many is funding in the Black community.
Okay.
And I have to say, a lot of Black businesses can't get funding. And we do have a lot of issues, and I notice a lot of people are dealing with it. One, because they didn't start right. They're not keeping proper records. They didn't start with a lawyer. You guys need to come see me if you're starting your business.
This is so true, and I'm
And you
glad that
need
you're
a
saying
lawyer.
this, yeah.
But I have to say, part of the reason that I'm even here and I continue to expand, and in a year and a half, we've scaled Mackeda Law to 3 locations with over 10 employees, right? And we continue to do that. I have to shout out TD Bank.
And I'm glad that you went there, because I wanted to ask,
Bank.
how has TD
The
impacted your business?
Black
Customer experience, yeah?
The Black customer experience.
Yeah. How has that transformed your business?
It has transformed my business in such a positive way. They've provided funding for us. They've helped us to bridge that gap that we didn't have before. And it's there. So if you are a small business owner, TD Bank is doing so much to bridge the gap for so many Black businesses.
And it's a
I'm
free
so
resource.
grateful. And it's
a free resource,
resource.
literally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cater to Black
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah. Taisha, as we've been talking about funding, you've been saying yes, yes, yes. Was that your biggest challenge starting your business?
I think overall, and just kind of piggybacking on what you've shared as well, is that funding is very difficult, and I think we don't want loans, we want grants, and I think there's an issue there, and I find that there's a lot of grants that's being provided, but it's not getting into our hands. And I really appreciate the fact that we do have this platform, we do have the TD. Shout out to TD Bank. You have to go searching. You can't just wait for the door to open. Unfortunately, it doesn't open for us. We actually have to kick doors down.
I do think it's important for people to, to hear from entrepreneurs about like that moment that you felt success, that first moment of success. What did that feel like for you?
I think for me, the first moment of success was making profit, like actually seeing money come
Going
back.
to the green.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like actually seeing, but for me, I try not to look at the monetary of things, but I like the when I think of success outside of the profit, or being seeing the profits and everything, was one personal moment was seeing one of my designers go on to Paris Fashion Week and getting noticed. Essentially going on to Vancouver Fashion Week and then going to Paris, but essentially being noticed because of our platform.
Success for me is many little different moments as a lawyer. It's your cases that you win and how you change and impact lives daily for me. I do have those personal moments when I look and I go like, okay, I hit my target for that month.
Yeah.
I hit my KPI and I go like, and I do my little dance.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fantastic because I can pay my staff.
That's important. That's
And I can
important.
pay myself.
Yeah.
And I can pay my bills.
Yeah, when you can pay yourself,
Right.
that's a
Yes.
bonus.
Yeah.
You pay the
That's
staff, but
good.
paying yourself is a bonus.
Listen, you got to pay yourself.
Yeah.
Put yourself on payroll, hon. Pay yourself. And that's very important. If you have a business, put yourself on payroll so that you can also qualify for homes and mortgages. So those are my little moments of success. And then I have those big, great moments when I sign the paper and close that deal.
Yes. Yes. Making
Right?
the quarters,
So making
exceeding
the quarters.
KPIs.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Right? Those are
Paying your
success.
employees.
Right? So in 10 years, because I'm a big believer in manifestation, so I want you to speak it into
In
existence.
10 years,
Where will Mackeda Law be?
Mackeda Law will not only have 20 other locations in Canada,
What,
but
20?
we will continue to grow in the Caribbean as well,
Yes.
because we are a part of that diaspora, and so we're looking to expand across the diaspora. One last thing I want to leave you with is that you've got a dream so big that you got to grow into that person.
Yeah.
So that's top of the top, and that's where the sky is not the limit.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going beyond that.
Yes,
So
because you
that's
are
what
moving
I
my
really
spirit
believe.
today, girl. You are moving my spirit today.
Amen. Right?
Yes.
We gotta do that. We gotta do that.
Taisha, talk to me about Fashion Forward. Where we gonna be in 10 years?
I definitely see Fashion Forward on a big scale of opening multiple locations. I definitely want to do something more of an international base as well. I also want to tie in fast fashion some way into bringing it back into having original designs. I feel that just by keep pushing forward, you can. The sky's the limit.
Mackeda,
Absolutely.
Taisha, Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having businesses where at the center it's purity.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for giving back to the community
Yes.
and for building better
Yes.
for our
Building
community.
better
Amen.
for our
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
community,
joining
and
me.
that's
Thank you for
what we're
having
doing.
us.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you join us back here in the studio.
Thank you for having me again.
We talk about building better, and clearly you're building up two amazing female entrepreneurs.
It's always good to get positive feedback.
Yeah.
It's really a thrilling experience to support someone at the stage or at the place where they need it the most, and then you get to watch it take off and flourish. And that for me is what warms my heart and keeps me going.
So Natalia, I mean, I've never asked you this question, but how many entrepreneurs do you work with?
I handle tons and tons. We get in touch with clients every single day, and we have processes through our account managers of small business who actually support new entrepreneurs with opening accounts and accessing credit daily.
And I'm glad that you talked about accessing credit, because Taisha, that was one of the big things that, you know, when she started her entrepreneurship journey, she was saying that was a roadblock for her. Mackeda said if it wasn't for, you know, the Black customer experience, she wouldn't have been able to find out all of these different avenues. So let's kind of talk about those avenues in terms of accessing credit for entrepreneurs.
So I'll start off with what my segment is, which is the
Yeah.
Black Customer Experience segment through TD. We have what is called the Black Entrepreneur Credit Access Program that we actually use to support Black businesses, Black entrepreneurs. My team, including regional managers across Canada, our role is to reach out to these Black entrepreneurs and understand their unique pain points. And from there, we try to help them with a strategy that either works within our banking system, or we suggest other opportunities through partners with TD that will help them to get to their goals.
You know, many entrepreneurs might know these terms, bootstrapping or external funding, in terms of trying to grow your business. If you don't know what those things are, can you help explain those?
So bootstrapping
Yeah.
in the most basic sense is using your own money to fund the growth and development within your business.
And if you have that, you're a very lucky person.
And maybe in the minority
Right.
to pull that off. And the other area, which is to use external funding, really means that you're utilizing opportunities that are outside of your own circumstances to support. So it could be, for example, taking a loan or credit lines from the bank. It could be that you're speaking to angel investors or venture capitalists. It could be that you're looking for accelerator programs that offer grants and bursaries.
What are the pros and cons of bootstrapping versus external funding?
So for bootstrapping, the pros would be that you get to make all the decisions for your business, your own 100% of the business, and you can direct the pace at which your business grows. But the downside is that you will have more than likely limited resources, and the ability to scale your business might be slower than you really want, because you have to wait on that income that the business generates in order to make decisions about growing the business. If you're looking at external funding, then you can definitely take advantage of access to credit and money that can support your business in its growth trajectory. The cons might be that you'll have debt if you're taking on loans, but there are interest expense charges that you can actually write off within the business.
Oh, point made.
Or you can, if you're doing the venture capitalist side or angel investor side, you might find that you're not 100% owner, depending on the agreement that you come in with the persons who own those organizations.
I'm thinking like people watching this, they're probably wondering like, at which point in the growth stage of starting a business should I start seeking extra funding?
There's no answer for it, except that it depends on your business and industry.
Right.
So there are certain industries and businesses that need a lot of capital in the beginning, and then certain industries that don't. So you think about service organizations or companies like consultancy groups, they might not need a lot of capital injection, but if you're doing something that manufactures or makes some physical product, then you might need a lot of initial capital outlay.
When you talk about a business plan and financial projections, because as you were mentioning, like, hey, if you want to get like a line of credit from the bank, for example, we're going to look at your business plan and your financial projections. How does an entrepreneur go about making those projections?
Within the business plan, you're supposed to be actually looking at what is benchmark for the industry that you plan to operate in.
Yes.
And there are public records about tax returns for companies that are normally similar to yours.
Yeah.
Within the bank, we actually understand financial statements. We've seen millions of them, and we also understand different industries. So when you're doing a business plan, you should take into consideration your market. You should take into consideration the population that you plan to serve and how much money you think those persons have in terms of disposable income to buy your goods. And then when you're thinking about the all of that and you think about the expense, then your forecast should be more realistic in terms of how you see your business generating revenues year over year. We all want our business to grow, that's for sure, but we have to understand that if you're overly optimistic with your revenue projections, you might set yourself up for setbacks.
So dream big, but on paper, we have to be considerate.
We have to be.
Right? We have to keep it cute.
Yes.
We have to be demure.
Realistic.
Realistic. And then when it comes up to startup capital, because I'm sure obviously again this answer is going to differentiate depending on the type of business, but how should you determine generally how much startup capital you should have if you're going to start a business?
Startup capital is a one-off expense, so
Yeah.
you're not going to have that same expense running through the business. So let's think about if you're going to rent a space, then you're looking at your rent deposit. That's
Right.
a startup cost. If you're a baker and you need to establish a bakery, then the equipment that you're buying
Right.
would be a one-off startup cost. So when you think about startup cost, again, we just need to understand how much money do you need to get the vision started.
Just to get it started.
Just to get it
Yes.
started. And that is what you want to ensure that you are budgeting for.
So once you finally have your business, it started, right? How much, I guess, working capital should you have? And when I talk about working capital, like money in the bank, how many months worth of that should you have to cover yourself?
So we have a general rule of thumb
Yeah.
about what your working capital ratio should be.
Yeah.
And we accept or like when it's 1.5 to 2.
What does that mean?
It means that your business revenues and assets should be at least 1.5 to 2 times the expenses or liabilities of the business.
Okay. And then once you get into entrepreneur and you start a business, I think for a lot of people, they want to know, like, how do you protect your personal assets from business liabilities?
So to protect your personal assets from your business, you would need to, of course, register your business and then operate the business as a separate entity from your personal. So when we look at how we can have commingling, sometimes clients use their personal credit cards or their personal lines of credit to facilitate business expense.
Don't do that, is what you're saying.
Don't do that.
Hello, listen to this one more time.
Sometimes clients use their personal credit cards or their personal lines of credit to facilitate business expense.
Don't do that, is what you're saying.
Don't do that.
Do not do that.
Do not. So it's best to have your own lines of credit for the business separate and apart from what you do for personal life.
You know, I think for anybody who, again, is on the edge of their seat, maybe they've started this process, they're a little bit confused. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to be in your mind alone.
No.
Especially as a black entrepreneur in Canada
Exactly.
now, because there is this great program and resource that's available to people.
Yes.
And again, that is the Black Customer Experience. If you want to access the Black Customer Experience, the link is in the description below. And for more episodes of Building Better with Brandon, powered by TD Bank, those links are also in the description below. Make sure to watch them. Latanya, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you all the time.
Thank you. It's always great to be here to spend time with you.
Hey, it's BG, and I want to know, what do you think about what you just watched? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below, but also make sure to check out even more great content like this video and this video over here. And if you haven't subscribed to the Brandon Gona Show, do so right now by clicking this button right here.